महोदय, मैं समझ सकता हूं कि मैं वो बात छेड़ना नहीं चाहता था, लेकिन क्या करूं, मजबूरी है अब। अध्यक्ष महोदय,
अभी माननीय सदस्य लोग ये कह रहे हैं कि हमारे सदस्य नहीं है यहाँ पर जो हमारे साथी हैं, लेकिन अध्यक्ष महोदय मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ, ये जो बिल लाया जा रहा है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी में एक मुकाबला चल रहा है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अंदर मुकाबला चल रहा है कि
खराब हिंदू कौन बड़ा है। और ये बात अध्यक्ष महोदय मैं ऐसे ही नहीं कह रहा हूं।
जो पार्टी ये कहती हो कि दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी है, अध्यक्ष महोदय वो अपना राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष नहीं चुन पाए अभी तक। अध्यक्ष महोदय भारतीय जनता पार्टी क्या है?
जी, मैं अखिलेश जी ने बहुत हंसते हंसते कहा है, इसको हंसते हंसते जवाब देना। ये सामने जितनी पार्टियां हैं उनका राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष उन 5 लोगों को ही चुनना है परिवार के। हमें माननीय अध्यक्ष जी करोड़ों सदस्यों में से 12-13 करोड़ सदस्य प्रक्रिया कर कर चुनना है तो देर लगती है। आपके यहाँ जरा भी देर नहीं लगेगी। मैं कह देता हूं अभी 25 साल तक आप अध्यक्ष हो जाओ, नहीं बदल सकता।
अध्यक्ष महोदय, क्योंकि जो बात निकल के आई है वो मैं फिर आगे बढ़ा दूं। अध्यक्ष महोदय, जो बात सोशल मीडिया या और जगह गुपचुप हो रही है, कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं था कि अभी कुछ दिन पहले यात्रा जो हुई है वो कहीं 75 वर्ष की एक्सटेंशन वाली यात्रा तो नहीं थी? अध्यक्ष महोदय, ये जो इस बार जो वक्फ बिल आया है, नाकामी का पर्दा इस बार है वक्फ बिल। और नाकामी को एक आध नहीं है, मैं कई नाकामियां बता सकता हूं। अभी मैं माननीय सदस्यों को सुन रहा था, वो पुराने कई बिल उनके बारे में चर्चा कर रहे थे कि कितने प्रोग्रेसिव बिल लेकर के आए हैं।
मुझे याद है मैं उत्तर प्रदेश में उस समय था और मुझे लगा कि शायद इनकी वो बात ठीक होगी। एक ये बहुत नोट नहीं चलेंगे, नोट बंद हो जाएंगे। अध्यक्ष महोदय, उस नोटबंदी नाकामी के बारे में भी तो चर्चा हो जाए कि अभी भी न जाने कितनी जगह पर कितना रुपया निकला जा रहा है, कितना निकल करके आ रहा है। केवल नाकामी नोटबंदी की नहीं, नाकामी बेरोजगारी की भी है, नाकामी महंगाई की भी है, नाकामी किसान की आय दोगुनी नहीं कर पाए वो भी इनकी नाकामी है। मुझे याद है एक माननीय मंत्री जी पूरे देश की नदियों के बारे में बीओडी बता रहे थे, लेकिन माननीय मंत्री जी ये भूल गए कि उनके शहर में, उनके क्षेत्र की जो नदी है उसकी बीओडी क्या है। गंगा क्या साफ हो गई, यमुना क्या साफ हो गई, स्मार्ट सिटी क्या बन गई, क्या गोद लिए हुए गांव इन्होंने गोद से उतार दिए, उनकी क्या दुर्दशा है। इसलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं, ये नाकामी का पर्दा इस बार वक्फ बिल बना है। और सबसे बड़ी बात तो यह है कि जिसके लिए फैसला होना है उसकी बात को अहमियत न देना भी नाइंसाफी है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, नाकामी केवल यहां तक नहीं है। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी क्या है, मैं केवल एक पुरानी घटना याद करता हूं। एक बार फैजाबाद अयोध्या में एक कार्यक्रम था, उसमें बड़ी तैयारी की गई थी और तैयारी के साथ कलाकार मुंबई से बुलाए गए थे। हो सकता है वो सहमति दिल्ली से ना रही हो, केवल लखनऊ की सहमति से हो रहा हो कार्यक्रम। और जब कार्यक्रम की पूरी तैयारी हो गई, भगवान श्री राम बनकर के कोई आ गया, लक्ष्मण बनकर के कोई आ गया, मां सीता भी बनकर के कोई आ गया, और भगवान हनुमान भी बनकर के कोई आ गया। लेकिन जब लखनऊ से वो हेलीकॉप्टर उड़ा और अयोध्या पहुंचा तो सब लोग थे, लेकिन उसमें हनुमान नहीं थे। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोगों से कहूंगा कि जानकारी करिए कि आखिरकार भगवान श्री राम थे, लक्ष्मण थे, सीता थी, लेकिन हनुमान क्यों नहीं थे? हनुमान इसलिए नहीं थे, शायद उनकी जात या धर्म कुछ और था। अध्यक्ष महोदय, ये देश मिली जुली संस्कृति से चला है। कुछ हमने सीखा, कुछ उन्होंने सिखाया। और जो लोग ये कहते हैं कि हम सबको बराबरी का हक देते हैं, अभी कुछ दिन पहले ईद निकली है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, वो परंपरा रही है, न केवल मैं जाता हूं, बल्कि कोई दल का नेता ऐसा नहीं न जाता हो उस कार्यक्रम में शामिल होने। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के जो मुख्यमंत्री, उप मुख्यमंत्री, वो भी जाते हैं, उप मुख्यमंत्री, सभी धर्मों के नेता आते हैं। लेकिन पता नहीं इस बार क्या साजिश थी, षड्यंत्र था कि वहां पर कुछ पाबंदी लगी हुई थी। अगर किसी कारण पाबंदी लगी हुई थी तो बात समझ में आती है, लेकिन जब जानकारी हुई है, किसी को नहीं पता था कि पाबंदी क्यों लगी है कि आप नहीं जा सकते वहां पर कार्यक्रम में शामिल होने। क्या यही भारत है, यही संविधान हमें रास्ता दिखाता है? अध्यक्ष महोदय, मंत्री जी बताएं हमें, वो खुद भी माइनॉरिटी हैं, भगवान बुद्ध के रास्ते पे चलते हैं। भगवान बुद्ध का रास्ता दूसरा है। हम आपको अपना मानते हैं तब भी जब आप हमारे बहुत सारे ग्रंथों को नहीं मानते, तब भी हम आपको अपना मानते हैं। आप हमारे पुराणों को नहीं मानते हैं, आप हमारे उपनिषदों को नहीं मानते हैं। लेकिन सोचिए, हम हिंदू वो लोग हैं जो आपको स्वीकार करते हैं और गले लगा करके चलते हैं। अब मैं दूसरे धर्म पे नहीं जाऊंगा, कोई नाराज हो सकता है। मैं दूसरे धर्म के बारे में नहीं जा सकता, मैं केवल यही बताता हूं। और मैं उत्तर प्रदेश में, अध्यक्ष जी, जहां से आता हूं, मैं अपमान नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं सच बोल रहा हूं। और ये बिहार के चुनाव में जो आप कह रहे हैं कि महिलाओं को 2 मेंबर बना दिया, इस बार मैं भी देखूंगा आगे भारतीय जनता पार्टी कितनी महिला लोगों को टिकट देंगे वहां पर। अध्यक्ष महोदय, भाजपा जब भी कोई नया बिल लाती है तो वो अपनी नाकामी छुपाती है। भाजपा वाले मुसलमान भाइयों की वक्फ की जमीन चिन्हित करने की बात कर रहे हैं, जिससे महाकुंभ में जो हिंदू मारे गए हैं या खो गए हैं, उनको चिन्हित करने की बात पर पर्दा पड़ जाए। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मुझे खुशी इस बात की कि हमारा धर्म, अध्यक्ष महोदय, नहीं, कुछ कहना चाहते हैं।
नहीं, प्लीज, उनको अलाउ नहीं किया।
अध्यक्ष महोदय, कुंभ में आस्था सबकी है, कोई ऐसा नहीं जिसकी आस्था ना हो। और कुंभ कोई पहली बार नहीं हो रहा था। ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोगों ने ऐसा प्रचार किया कि 144 वर्षों के बाद पहली बार महाकुंभ होने जा रहा है, और लोग निकल पड़े। सरकार ने कहा कि हमारी तैयारी 100 करोड़ की है। आप कहते टेक्नोलॉजी का हम इस्तेमाल करेंगे, जमीनों को हम मैपिंग कर करके डेटा एंड रिकॉर्ड ठीक करेंगे। अध्यक्ष महोदय, ये बताएं कि वो 30 लोग कौन थे, उनके नाम क्या थे जिनकी जान चली गई? न केवल जान जाने वालों की, बल्कि अध्यक्ष महोदय, ये सरकार बताए कि जो लगभग 1000 हिंदू खो गए हैं, जो अभी तक नहीं मिले, जो अभी तक नहीं खोज पाए हैं, वो 1000 हिंदू की सूची कहां है? और फिर धर्म कारोबार की बात है, जो ये लोग गोली। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं कार सेवक वाली बात इसलिए नहीं छेड़ना चाहता हूं। अध्यक्ष महोदय, ये शायद माननीय सदस्य जानते नहीं कुछ सच्चाई नहीं जानते। अध्यक्ष महोदय, ये संविधान की वजह से संविधान को बचाने के लिए, हिंदू एकता को बचाने के लिए कुछ फैसले लिए गए, लेकिन एफआईआर हम लोगों पे नहीं लिखी गई थी। एफआईआर उन पे लिखी गई थी जो बेचारे तैयार हो गए थे सुबह, लेकिन पता नहीं कहां से फोन आया था, कहा था कि अब तैयार तो हो गए हो लेकिन आप शिलान्यास में नहीं आ सकते।
बहुत सही।
इसलिए बात को इधर से उधर नहीं में ले जाना चाहता।
अखिलेश जी जरा वक्त पे भी आ जाओ।
आजा, वक्त पे आ रहा हूं। नहीं, वक्त पे अध्यक्ष इसलिए आ रहा हूं क्योंकि वक्त समझने के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सोच क्या है। और ये अध्यक्ष महोदय जब ये कह रहे हैं कि इससे कारोबार होगा, अध्यक्ष महोदय, धर्म की चीजों से कारोबार नहीं हो सकता। हमारे उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री जी ने भी कहा कि कारोबार होगा। वो 30 की गिनती में उलझे हुए हैं, जैसे 30 मार खाए वो। उनसे पूछा कि जान कितनी गई, वो 30। उनसे पूछा कि कारोबार कितने का होगा, 30 गुणा 10,000 करोड़। सोचिए, कुंभ हमारा क्या कारोबार की जगह है? और फिर उसका कौन नापेगा, कैसे नालाएगा? और फिर हमारे माननीय मंत्री जी कह रहे हैं कि जमीन, चाहे वो रेलवे की हो, चाहे वो डिफेंस की हो, वो भारत की जमीन है। मैं भी स्वीकार करता हूं कि रेलवे की जमीन भी भारत की है, डिफेंस की भी जमीन भारत की है। क्या डिफेंस की जमीन नहीं बेची जा रही मंत्री जी? अध्यक्ष महोदय, क्या रेलवे की जमीनें नहीं बेची जा रही हैं? अध्यक्ष महोदय, केवल यहां तक नहीं, कितना हस्तक्षेप होता है। वक्फ भी भारत के, इसीलिए तो कहीं ना कहीं वक्फ की जमीन से, अध्यक्ष महोदय, माननीय मंत्री जी बताएं, और मुझे उम्मीद है कि जब जवाब देंगे तो बताएंगे कि वक्फ की जमीन से बड़ा मुद्दा वो जमीन है जिस पर चीन ने अपने गांव बसा लिए हैं, लेकिन कोई बाहरी खतरे पर सवाल बवाल न करे, इसलिए ये बिल लाया जा रहा है। और माननीय मंत्री जहां से आते हैं, जिस प्रदेश से आते हैं, कम से कम ये तो बताएंगे कि वहां कितने चीन ने गांव बसा लिए, घर बन गए हैं। अध्यक्ष महोदय, आपके माध्यम से सरकार गारंटी दे कि वक्फ की जमीन कभी भी किसी भी पैतरेबाजी से किसी और मकसद के लिए किसी और को नहीं दी जाएगी। वक्फ की वर्तमान व्यवस्था में चाहे 5 साल के धर्म पालन की पाबंदी की बात हो, या कलेक्ट्रेट से सर्वेक्षण के हस्तक्षेप की बात हो, या वक्फ परिषद या बोर्ड में बाहरियों को शामिल करने की बात हो, इन सब का उद्देश्य मुस्लिम भाइयों के सार्वजनिक अधिकार को छीनकर उनके महत्व और नियंत्रण को कम करना है। ट्रिब्यूनल के निर्णय को अंतिम न मानकर उच्च न्यायालय में लेकर जाने की अनुमति देना दरअसल जमीनी विवाद को लंबी न्यायिक प्रक्रिया में फंसाकर वक्फ भूमि पर कब्जों को बनाए रखने का रास्ता खोलेगा। सबसे बड़ी बात यह कि वक्फ बिल के पीछे की न तो नीति सही है, न नियत। ये देश के करोड़ों लोगों से उनके घर दुकान छीनने की भी साजिश है। भाजपा एक अलोकतांत्रिक पार्टी है, वो असहमति को अपनी शक्ति मानती है। जब देश के अधिकांश राजनीतिक दल वक्फ बिल के खिलाफ हैं, तो उसे लाने की जरूरत क्या है, जो जिद क्यों कर रहे हैं सरकार? वक्फ बिल का लाना भाजपा की सियासी हट है। वक्फ बिल भाजपा की सांप्रदायिक राजनीति का नया रूप है। वो तो आपको काटेगा, और इसलिए काटेगा कि अध्यक्ष महोदय बाहर ये लिखते हैं सत्यमेव जयते, बाहर है लिखते सत्यमेव जयते, भाजपाई अंदर असत्य बात कहते। भाजपा वक्फ बिल लाकर अपने उन समर्थकों का तुष्टीकरण करना चाहती है जो भाजपा की आर्थिक नीति, महंगाई, बेरोजगारी, बेकारी और चौपट अर्थव्यवस्था से उसे छटक गए हैं। क्योंकि अध्यक्ष महोदय, जब से वोट में गिरावट आई है और खासकर उत्तर प्रदेश में भी, तब से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की कोशिश है कि अपना वोट कैसे संभाला जाए। ये वोट को संभालने के लिए बिल लाया गया है। भाजपा का लक्ष्य वक्फ की जमीनों पर है। इन जमीनों का नियंत्रण अपने हाथ में लेकर इन जमीनों को पिछले दरवाजे से अपने लोगों के हाथों में दे देना चाहती है। भाजपा चाहती है कि वक्फ बिल लाने से मुस्लिम समुदाय को लगे कि उन पर हक को मारा जा रहा है, वो उद्वेलित हों और भाजपा को ध्रुवीकरण की राजनीति करने का मौका मिल सके। क्योंकि अध्यक्ष महोदय, भाजपा का लक्ष्य यह है कि ध्रुवीकरण हो, क्योंकि वो जानते हैं कि ध्रुवीकरण जितना होगा उससे वो लाभ उठाने में आगे रहेंगे। तो ये वक्फ बिल जो लाया जा रहा है वो अपनी वोट बैंक को संभालने के लिए और समाज को बांट करके ध्रुवीकरण करके राजनीतिक लाभ लेने के लिए लाया जा रहा है। और अगर इसके लिए नहीं लाया होता तो पहले से जो जितने फैसले लिए सरकार ने, क्या उससे देश और प्रदेश में कोई बड़ा बदलाव आ गया है? अगर स्मार्ट सिटी का बात करें तो कितनी स्मार्ट सिटी बन गई है आपकी? आपके नोटबंदी की वजह से न जाने कितना रुपया कहां निकल रहा है। और डर तो ये लगता है कहीं भाजपा वाले दूसरों के पैसा रख करके न पकड़वा दें। वक्फ बिल के आने से पूरी दुनिया में एक गलत संदेश भी जाएगा। इससे देश की सेकुलर इमेज को बहुत धक्का लगेगा। वक्फ बिल भाजपा की नफरत की राजनीति का एक और अध्याय है। मैं अंत में कहना चाहता हूं कि अभी तो आपने साथी संभाल लिए हैं, एक साथी तो मुझे दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है। और हमारे जिनका हमने सम्मान किया, हमें कहां ले गए आप? और हमें यहां छोड़ गए आप, हमें छोड़ गए। हमें देखिए सभापति महोदय देखिए राजनीति क्या है। हमने आपका हाथ पकड़ा और हम यहां आ गए और आप हमारा हाथ छुड़ा करके वहां चले गए। इसलिए देखिए कब हमारा इनका हाथ मिल जाए।
और मैं अध्यक्ष सभापति महोदय ये कहना चाहता हूं कि वक्फ बिल भाजपा के लिए वाटरलू साबित होगा, क्योंकि ऊपर से तो हाँ कह रहे हैं, लेकिन अंदर ही अंदर बहुत सारे साथी सहमत नहीं है। मैं अंत में इतना ही कहना चाहता हूं कि ये वक्फ बिल जो लेकर के आए, कोई उम्मीद लेकर के नहीं आ रहा है। ये सोची समझी रणनीति का हिस्सा है, क्योंकि इनका जो वोट बिखर गया है।
ये मुस्लिम में भी बंटवारा चाहते हैं। मुस्लिम इस्लाम धर्म में कहीं बंटवारा नजर नहीं आता है, लेकिन इनकी कोशिश है कि इस बिल के माध्यम से हम मुस्लिम भाईचारा में भी बंटवारा करते हैं। बंटवारा तो पीडीए करेगा। अभी देखिएगा सभापति महोदया, हमारे एक सदस्य कह रहे थे कि चुनाव बहुत अच्छा होता है। इनसे बेहतर किसने चुनाव देखा होगा?
चलिए धन्यवाद।
वोट ही नहीं डालने दिया। सभापति महोदया, मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं। मैं और अपने दल और साथियों के साथ कहता हूं कि समाजवादी पार्टी बिल का विरोध करती है। वोट पड़ेगा तो हम इसके खिलाफ वोट डालने जा रहे हैं।
माननीय सदस्य श्री कल्याण बनर्जी जी।
Thank you, Madam. On behalf of All India Trinamool Congress, under the leadership of the Mamata Banerjee, I strongly oppose the bill in entirety. Madam, the spirit of my speech is, तू हिंदू बनेगा ना मुसलमान बनेगा, इंसान की औलाद है, इंसान बनेगा. Madam, this present bill covers importantly two areas of the Waqf. One, manage religious affairs of Waqf board. One of the arena is to manage control supervision of the religious aspects of the Muslim. Two, providing power to the state government to decide the disputes in respect of the Waqf property, including land and building. Article 26 of the Constitution of India provides that, subject to public order, morality and health, every religious denominations or any section thereof shall have the right, A, to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purpose, B, to manage its own affairs in matter of religion. C. To own and acquire movable and immovable property. D. To administer such property in accordance to such law. Madam, the Waqf is an institution for religious and charitable purpose. The Muslim have constitutional right to manage its own affairs in the matter of religion because Waqf property belongs to Allah. They have also the right to administer such property. The purpose of the bill is a clear breach of the right of the Muslims to perform their religion duty, to manage their religious affairs, and therefore completely in violation of Article 26 of the Constitution of India. The bill hits basic structure of the Constitution. Madam, under Article 246, Sub-Article 1, the Parliament has an exclusive power to legislate a law under 7th schedule of List 1, and under Article 246, Sub-Article 3, the state is having the power, state legislature is having the power to legislate the law, exclusive power. Sir, excuse me, sir. That is to say, land comes under List 2, under entry 18 of the state lists. Lands and buildings vested in or in the possession of the state comes under entry 35 of the List 2 of the state list. In the proposed Waqf bill, the Parliament has no power to legislate any law in respect of the land and building vested in possession of the state in respect of the Waqf property, because the state is only having power to legislate such law. Therefore, the Parliament is now encroaching upon the power of the state legislation in deciding the question of the land and building of the Waqf. Thus, it is completely unconstitutional and dehodes the Article 246, Sub-Article 3 of the Constitution of India. This is also hits the basic structure of the Constitution. By exercising any power under List 1 or List 3, state legislative power under List 2 cannot be encroached. There is a difference between a Waqf recognized by the Muslim law and religious endowment and recognized by Hindu law on the one hand and public charitable trust as contemplated by the English law on the other. The question has been considered by the Privy Council in Vidya Bharuti Tirtha versus Bulsami Ayar, long before. Mr. Amir Ali, who delivered the judgment of the board, observed that it is to be remembered that a trust in the sense in which the expression is used in English law, when the gift is directly to an idol or a temple, the season to complete the gift is necessarily effected by human agency. Called by whatever name, he is only the manager or custodian of the idol or the institution. In no case is the property conveyed to or vested in him. Similarly, that is a basic difference. The Honorable Minister, he was speaking about the Hindu trust. The Muslim law relating to trust differs fundamentally from the English law. Hindu trust follows English law. Muslim law doesn't follow English law. That is a basic difference. Mr. Amir Ali said the Mohammedan law owes its origin to a rule laid down by the Prophet of Islam and means the tying up of a property in the ownership of God the Almighty and the devotion of the profits for the benefit of the human beings. As a result of the creation of a waqf, the rights of the waqif is extinguished and the ownership is transferred to the Almighty. It is religious. If it is religious, comes within the ambit and scope of Article 26 of the Constitution. The manager of the Waqf is the Mutawalli, the governor, superintendent, curator. But in that capacity, he has no right in the property belonging to the Waqf. The property is not vested in him and he is not a trustee in the legal sense. Therefore, there is no doubt that the Waqf to which the Act applies is essentially features different from the trust as is known to English law. In Sarabanu versus Union of India, 2017, volume 9, SCC, page 1, the Constitution bench held that any legal provision should be made with the application of known principles of law. If any decision is taken without supporting principles of rule of law, it becomes unpredictable, and such a decision is antithesis of a decision taken in accordance with the rule of law. This proposed bill is just contrary to the well-settled principles of law which is established in the country by judgments have been pronounced not only by the Privy Council, by the Supreme Court of India also. Madam, the various provisions of the Waqf Amendment Bill 2024 is manifestly arbitrary and therefore cannot be passed by the Parliament itself. The Waqf system in Islamic tradition stands as a testament to the enduring values of charity, community, welfare, spiritual dedication rooted in the principles of Sadaqah Jariyah. Waqf in India, Waqf properties form the backbone of the Muslim communities, social, cultural and religious life, playing a pivotal role in maintaining their collective identity. This endowment sustains mosques, madrasas and cemeteries while providing essential resources to marginalized section of society, especially in an environment where minority communities often struggle for equitable access to public purposes. This is not there. Equality, equitable access is not there in case of the Muslim. That is the reason we are opposing. Over the years, excessive government oversight has raised concerns about the erosion of the autonomy and sanctity of Waqf, which under Islamic law is intended to function independently, to serve its religious and charitable purposes. At the heart of the Waqf system administration lies the State Waqf Board, while act as custodian of Waqf properties, ensuring their proper management and alignment with the purposes by Islamic law. These boards have consistently worked to protect Waqf properties from the mismanagement. Madam, the Waqf was essentially first introduced in 1953. Mr. Riju, the Honorable Minister, has said, thereafter so many acts, then 1995 Act has come, Amendment 2013, now it is coming. Now by introducing Clause 2, the title of the Act has been amended, Unified Waqf Management, Empowerment, Efficiency and Development. There is no rational basis to make such amendment of the title of the Act. Every Act is intended to make the Act more efficient and development purposes. As for example, the Companies Act was enacted in 1956, thereafter reenacted in 2013. The Act was brought to regulate the management, empowerment, efficiency and development of the control of the companies. The Waqf Act 1995 had various provisions for management, empowerment, efficiency and development. Therefore, the said proposed amendment to the title is wholly unwarranted. The title, which is being used nearly for 75 years, has no necessity to be amended unless the government wants to have the satisfaction that something new has been done. The proposed amendment to the Waqf Act, which includes a tacit attempt to alter or dilute the historical and religious significance of the term Waqf, is deeply concerning and warrants strong objection. The term Waqf is not merely legal or administrative level. It is a sacred concept deeply rooted in Islamic tradition and jurisprudence. Why you are taking away this? Madam,
They want to interfere in
please, Sogadda, please. The historical development of Waqf legislation in India, from the Bengal Waqf Act 1934, Uttar Pradesh Muslim Waqf Act 1960, the Waqf Act 1954, and the subsequent unification under the Waqf Act of 1995, has always retained the sanctity of the term. These laws, while designed to provide statutory governance, have consistently respected the essence of Waqf as a concept grounded in Islamic law. Madam, Insertion of clause 2A. Insertion of clause 2A tantamount to nullify all earlier judgments, degree and orders of any court in respect of the workup and the trust. This attempt is basically taking away the rights of the Muslim, which they have accrued. Any attempt to nullify the Supreme Court judgment by legislative process is illegal and unconstitutional. Clause 3, Roman 9 of the proposed bill that said various sects and subsects have been created. This attempt to create subsect without having any rational object is not a good sign for any religion, caste or creed. If the constitutional provisions empowers the parliament to create caste, subcaste or subclause, only then the parliament can do so. Like the scheduled caste created inside Hindus, but the constitutional provision does not empower the parliament under the guise of the Workup Amendment Bill 2024, create Aga Khani Workup, Bora Workup, etc. The intention to legislate such kind of classification of Workup board based on subsects, the ruling party in the government is having evil intention. If the title speaks about unification, creation of various Workup board on the basis of subsect itself creates a de-unification between the sects and subsects of the Muslims. Madam, Clause 3FA of the said proposed bill defines government organization including municipalities and panchayat and autonomous bodies of the state and central government to a Part 9A of the Constitution. Under the scheme of Part 9A, the municipalities and the panchayats are self-government and autonomous bodies. How the properties of the self-government bodies can be treated as a government properties, madam? In a constitutional provision it has made it. By this law, panchayat and municipality has been described as a government properties. It is not a government properties, local self-government bodies. Therefore, there is a distinction. Therefore, this provision is bad. Madam, introduction of definition of the government property seems to be mischievous. Why Workup will be allowed to define government property? This is an attempt to legalize illegal occupation or Workup property by government organizations. Another sin is there. In our JPC, we have said repeatedly, give us the data what the government has occupied the property. Nothing is there. And in Rajasthan, it is a cases, extreme cases. 80% of the property of the Rajasthan, Workup property has been occupied by the Rajasthan government itself. Practicing Islam for at least 5 years is a precondition for making Workup is thoroughly unreasonable, irrational and manifest arbitrary. Under the scheme of the Constitution of India, no person can be compelled to practice his own religion. If no person can be compelled to practice his own religion, then such persons cannot be debarred either to offer his property to God or whether he is Hindu or Muslim or any other religion. Practicing religion means day-to-day performance of his religious duty. In a secular democratic country like us, no one can compel to perform any religious duty. If such a provision cannot be made either in the Constitution or in any other statute, no mandatory provision can be made for practicing Islam for at least 5 years for making Workup. Even if I discharge my religious duty on my own at any place, I cannot be compelled to speak whether I am performing religious duty or not performing the same. Who is anyone can ask me whether I am performing religious duty or non-religious duty? Is it not a violation of a constitutional right? What the Constitution has given you the power to say, to ask me the question, I am discharging religious duty or not discharging the religious duty? A man can believe in performance of religious duty at any point of time of his life, any point of time, before death even. Performing of a religious duty cannot be the basis belonging to that religion. Even in a Hindu mandir which is governed by an act, like Puri Jagannath Temple or Kashi Vishwanath Temple, there is no such provision that any person practicing Hindu for at least 5 years and then only can donate anything to the deity. Madam, I can't donate. If I want to donate, It's my choice. How my choice can be controlled? I can donate to Hindu Mandir. I donate to everywhere. I donate in Hindu Mandir. I donate in Muslim property. I donate in the Christian property. I donate in the Buddhist property. I donate everywhere. I donate beggars. I donate everywhere. How can you control this act? How can I control? By reason of insertion of this clause, no other person of a religion can make over any property to Waqf. The proposed amendment is thoroughly misconceived, arbitrary, irrational, and therefore violates Article 14 of the Constitution of India. Under Clause 3, Roman 9b, existing Clause 3R1 has been omitted. That means Waqf by user is being taken away. Waqf by user is a long-standing practice of Muslims. In our country, Waqf by user is a very common practice, and decades after decades, rather time immemorial. Waqf by user is a practice. The concept of Waqf by user was recognized in our country in the case of courts of words for the property of Magdam Hassan Baksa versus Illahi Baksa and others, 1912, SCC online, page 45. Madam, the Honorable Apex Court in the matter of Sayyid Muhammad Salih Labbai, dated by Eller and others versus Muhammad Hanifa versus Eller and others, 1976, 4 SCC 780. In paragraph 34, 36 and paragraph 39, categorically accepted this Waqf by user. The necessity is necessary in case of prayers offered in congregation. A single Muslim can also offer his prayers with or without an imam, but if prayer is in a congregation of a Jannat are offered only behind an imam who leads the prayers. And Islam is an extremely modern and liberal religion. There is no question of any person being denied admission in a mosque for the purpose of offering prayers, and that is why the law is so strict that the moment a person is allowed to offer his prayers in a mosque, the mosque becomes dedicated to the public, and therefore it's a Waqf property. Therefore it is a Waqf property. Finally, it is not necessary for the dedication of public mosque. Thus, Madam, in that judgment it has said, so that when a person erects a building with the object of dedicating it as a mosque and permits people to offer prayers therein without declaring that he has constituted it into a mosque and prayers are offered, there bil jammat, the mosque becomes irrevocably dedicated. It is dedicated. Madam, I just give one instance. In the Raishina village, where the residence of the President of India is there, it was a long back, it's a big village. In the big village, there are so many Muslims are there. One Hindu dedicated his property for offer their namaz, and that is the property, that is the mosque is in front of the parliament. In the front of the parliament. Who has not come here? All. Abdul Kalam Azad. So all important political leaders, including Bhutto, and the imam of that is sitting here as one of our colleagues, member of parliament. If prayers are offered once in a mosque, it is sufficient to constitute a good dedication. Dedication has been clearly said. Paragraph 39 of the judgment, that the founder must declare his intention to dedicate a property for the purpose of mosque. No particular form of declaration is necessary. The declaration can be presumed from the conduct of the founder, either express or implied. If this is the principle of law, is long-standing in our country, how can you say today you have to register Waqf by user? You have to give a declaration. I don't need to. Therefore, you are trying to, by this bill, you are trying to take away the basic reason of all the judgments of the Supreme Court. This is not correct and this is bad. Madam, neither a document nor express words are essential for dedication of religious or public purpose in our country. Such dedication may be implied for user, permitted for public and religious purposes for sufficient length of time. The conduct of those properties is presumed to be dedicated to for religious. It has been said by Sri B.K. Mukherjee on Hindu law. Sri B.K. Mukherjee on Hindu law of religious and charitable. I do not think that anyone in India is here now, or today in India there is anyone who understands Hindu law better than the B.K. Mukherjee. No one. He has said so in his book. Anyway, new concept, smart mans have come, like a smartphone, therefore everything is being done. In the case of M. Siddiqui, through Elas versus Mahanath Suresh Das, 2021 SCC page 1, it has expressly said walk up by user. Our jurisprudence recognizes the principles of walk up by user, even absent an express deed of dedication. This is being taken away. Now, long judgment I will not read. This is being taken away by this. Therefore, it hits the basic things. Clause 3, subclause 5 of the said proposed bill. The verbal declaration of walk up has been taken away. This is contrary to the history of creating walk up by any individual. Several properties are dedicated as walk up by a good number of persons to be made as walk up property. Madam, the deletion of the word either verbally or violates the right of the Muslim as protected under Article 25 and 26 of the Constitution. Therefore, it hits the basic structure of the Constitution. In Commissioner of Police versus Acharya Jagadish Abud Dutta, 2004-12 SCC 770, it comes from our state. When CPM was in a power, they killed Ananda Margis. In that case, this judgment has come. The protection guaranteed under Article 25 and 26 of the Constitution is not confined to matters of doctrine or belief, but extends to act done in purpose of religion, and therefore contains a guarantee for rituals, observances, ceremonies, and mode of worship which are essential or integral part of religion. What is work then? It's an integral part of the religion. Madam, essential part of religion means the core beliefs upon which a religion is founded. Core belief of the Muslim is that Allah is there. I am dedicated my property to the Allah. Therefore, it's a waqf property. It is upon the consensus essential power practice that the superstructure of religion is built, without which religion will be no religion. Madam, nobody can say that essential part or practice of one's religion has changed from a particular date or by an event. The proposed amendment clause 3 proceeds with the assumption that waqf are riddled with the issues of mismanagement. It appears that primary basis of the assumption, very important, the very primary basis of the assumption is the quantum of pending litigation surrounding waqf. If the basis of identifying body as mismanaged in the amount of litigation that is pending against in this cannot be a rational basis of determining the standard of management of a body. In fact, the Honorable High Court of Delhi in the case of Union of India, Kiran Manua, he has given the details of the pending cases. If pending cases are the ground for bringing the legislation, now I tell you the figure, statistics. In the pending civil cases in Supreme Court, 64,687. Pending criminal cases in Supreme Court, 18,235. Total pending cases, 82,922. And in waqf, all over India, 14 to 15,000 cases are pending. If it cannot be said to be a basis. Madam, Section 3A, the clause creation of clause 4, Section 3B, insertion of section that mandates that every waqf prior to the commencement of the shall file the details of the waqf property dedicated to waqf. I have already dealt with that. Madam, the waqf board under its main statute has declared a property to be waqf in the case that the government has to challenge the same before the appropriate court of law. Oh, sorry. Madam, this is a very important. Sorry, I have missed it. Now the property, government property, according to minister, the state government officer above the district magistrate will decide the issue. How it can be? How the state can be judge of its own cause? State will decide this is my property and it will be binding. And the problem is this: the moment it will be claimed, it will not be treated as a waqf property. Madam, title of the land only can be decided by the civil court, not by anybody. And this title, this land, the power which has been given to decide the land, whether it's a government land or not, that is covered by the state list under entry 18 and entry 35. That is the list 2 of the 7th schedule. Parliament has no power to legislate law in respect of that. If the Waqf Board under its main statute has declared a property to be Waqf, in this case the government has to challenge the same before the appropriate court of law. By amending this law, this cannot be done. A person cannot be judge of his own cause. It has to be gone to the civil court. It is well-known principles. Everyone knows about it, that it is with a dispute on the civil law and is there. Who will decide? It will be decided by the civil court. The proviso itself indicates the predetermined mind of the government. Then the Waqf Board itself is a statutory body. 3C4. If there is any wrong writing in the records of the Waqf Board, that can be challenged by the government in accordance with law. The government cannot direct the Waqf Board to make the correction. This itself is hit by the doctrine of dictation. Madam, apart from the survey, there are currently the Honorable Supreme Court time and again reiterated. Survey records, they are mostly relying. Madam, the Honorable Supreme Court time and again reiterated that revenue records are not documents of title and they do not vest the right of ownership as a property to the individual named in the land record. Reference are so many references is there. This is an elementary thing. Any law student also know this branch of law. Unfortunately, this has not been taken care of by the central government. Clause 5E, the proposed amendment amounts to create subclause amongst the Muslims for the purpose of giving birth to give this dispute. Clause 9 of the proposed bill. Proviso to clause 9 is totally unacceptable and it provides 2 members appointed under this subsection shall be non-Muslim. The exclusion of Muslim community persons from holding the post of 2 members in the Waqf Board is hit by Article 14 of the Constitution of India, which provides equal opportunity to everyone. In the case of Hindu temples, the non-inclusion of Hindus cannot be imagined. We can't imagine. For example, under Section 6, subsection 2(1) of Uttar Pradesh Kashi Vishwanath Temple Act, it has been specifically mentioned that there are 3 eminent Hindu scholars well versed in the Hindu. A line has been set, a point has been taken. You see, these are the state law, but it is a central law. Law means within the ambit of Article 246 of the Constitution of India. Law doesn't mean beyond that 246. If a law is within the Article 246 of India, there cannot be discrimination between a state law and central law. This is kind of unthinkable stand has been taken. I cannot think about this. After long 44 years practice, I can't think. No, it's a state law. It cannot be compared with the central law. What is that? Law is having its own force. Read Article 13 of the Constitution of India also. What is law? Madam, Clause 11 of the proposed bill seeking amendment of Section 14. That is amendment of original act suffers from same illegalities. Clause 14 of the proposed bill whereby Section 20A of the original act, that is removal of the chairperson by vote of no confidence, has been deleted. Such deletion is also improper, illegal, because if the chairperson does not enjoy the confidence of the other members, how can he sit there? It's a question of democracy. If the chairperson does not enjoy, madam, can you sit there if you don't enjoy the majority's confidence? If you cannot enjoy the majority's confidence, you have to leave. That is the democratic setup in our country. Madam, amendment of Section 36, subsection 3 is effectively taking away the power of the Waqf Board. Regarding receiving of registration of Waqf, and such amendment has been empowered the central government in an indirect manner to control everything. All powers have been taken. Why you are not making it the Honorable Minister? The Minister of Minorities will decide everything. He will be the supreme. Nothing is required. Finished. You can do it. Clause 20 of the bill amending of Section 40 of the original act. If Section 40 is deleted, madam, the Waqf Board power itself will be teethless doll. If Section 40 is amended and Section 40 is taken away, the Waqf Board will be a teethless doll only. If Section 40, then there is no necessity to keep the Waqf Board itself. Do not keep it. Keep the power with the minister of the central government. Minister will decide what is the necessity of the Waqf board. Everything will be done by him. Because the power to regulate the statutory Waqf board. This is complete. Madam, I will take some time, please. Complete reason I am reading very fast. I am going very fast. Waqf board. The proposed amendment bill under clause 21 seeking amendment of section 46 of the original act once again empowers the central government to make regulations with respect to so and so. Therefore, state power has been taken away. Does it not violate the federal structure of this country? Every power of the state government has been taken away. Only central will do it. That cannot be, violates the fundamental character of the Constitution. Clause 22, Amendment Section 47 of the Act. The proposed amendment empowers Central to call for the audit of any Waqf board by the CAG. How the CAG can make an audit? CAG can make an audit in a case of consolidated fund. CAG can make an audit in a consolidated fund under the Constitution. How CAG can make an audit beyond the consolidated fund? This is absolutely illegal and improper. Madam, Section 50, under the existing provision of the Waqf board, then comes Section 83. By the proposed amendment, the members of the tribunal have been reduced to 2 and 1 person having knowledge of Muslim law. This has been done, it has been amended. Now the tribunal to order is tribunal to High Court. Tribunal to High Court under appeal. Now it is a statutory appeal. There is no provision for condonation of delay if there is any delay is done. If a direct is a statutory appeal, you have not given any power to grant any interim relief to the persons. How can be an adequate remedy? Earlier it was there, one could have gone on Article 226 of the Constitution for a judicial review. And High Court is having the power to condone delay and also to pass an interim order. This power you have also taken away. Therefore, this provision is not an adequate remedy so far the Waqf property is concerned. Madam, please. Madam, the High Court has not given any power. Madam, 107 and 108. I am going very fast. I am getting very fast. I am not taking even the water even. The proposed amendment has an effect on the decision to replace the survey commissioner. Then the under clause proposed to section 107 of the act is deleted and thereby non-applicability of the limitation act. That is divorce. How the limitation act will be applied? If the limitation act will apply, so many disputes will come. This is the intention of the government. Open, sab khulo abhi khul do rasta. India mein chala laga do. Hindu Muslim laga do. यही तो इंटेंशन है उन लोग का. क्या होगा? This is not correct. This is completely bad. The proposed Waqf Act proposes significant. In Hemant Wajid sir has also criticized the concept of adverse possession as unjust, urging reforms to protect rightful property. Therefore, this is a this is a clear attempt. This is a clear attempt on the part of the bill to curtail the right of the Muslims in our country. ये ठीक नहीं है. मैडम, हिंदू या मुस्लिम का हसद मत छेड़िए. अपनी कुर्सी के लिए जज्बात को मत छेड़िए एक जंग मिलजुल कर गरीबी के खिलाफ. दोस्त मेरे मजामी लगमत में मत छेड़िए. मैडम, हम अपनी जान का दुश्मन के अपना जान कहते हैं. मोहम्मद का इस मिट्टी के हिंदुस्तान कहता है. अब तो मजहब अब कोई ऐसा भी चलाया जाए जिसमें इंसान को इंसान बनाया है. थैंक यू मैडम.
माननीय सदस्य श्री ए राजा जी.
Madam Chairperson, thank you for the opportunity given to me to express my views on behalf of the DMK party. I have received the courageous speech of Honorable Minister with rapt attention, and I wondered where he got such a courage to explore the entire cock and bull stories in the parliament. Sir, Madam, I dare to say the Honorable Minister, please go through your speeches tomorrow by text. Compile the text and do tally with the JPC report and the documents submitted with the JPC. If it tallies, I will resign from this house. You recall your memory. When you introduced this bill, you said what prompted to introduce this bill. One of the classical examples that has been given by you, the reason for this bill to be piloted, when you introduced, in Tamil Nadu, in Tiruchirappalli district, entire village, running thousands of acres, were described as work property. JPC came into Tamil Nadu. The district collector came to depose evidence. And the secretary of the revenue department came to the evidence. CEO of the court came to evidence. All three officers came to JPC. The chairman is sitting here. Deposed the evidence. The cock and bull story that has been built by you and expressed by you has been demolished. In spite of the cock and bull story, no interference. No interference. Having said the cock and bull story, now we are coming at new cock and bull stories to say the parliament was given to work board. Sir, madam, the irony is that the minorities' rights are going to be protected by way of this bill, where the party is having no members of parliament Muslim community. There is no Muslim MP to introduce and pilot the bill and support the cause of the bill. They are not able to produce a single member of parliament, and they are giving moral advice to us how the secularism can be protected. Madam Chairperson, today it is a remarkable day for the Indian Parliament to design our destiny, whether the country is going to travel, whether the secular country is going to travel in the path which was well beaten by the forefathers of the freedom fighters on the constitution, or a negative path as decided by the communal forces in the country. Sir, I want to start my speech by quoting the Tamil Nadu Assembly passed a resolution. The resolution was moved none other than the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Mr. M.K. Stalin. The resolution unanimously passed. The stand that I quote, our stand, the work bill introduced by the Parliament against minority rights, against religious freedom, unconstitutional, contrary to the purpose of work, inconsistent with judicial findings, unnecessary and confusing. If passed, it will cripple the Waqf institutions and harm the Muslim community. Therefore, the Assembly urges Union Government to completely withdraw the Waqf Amendment Bill. Unquote. Madam Chairperson, is it not a paradoxical question that the political will, sovereign will of the entire country seems to be or deemed to be reflected in this house, whereas Tamil Nadu political will reflected in the state assembly is something not only inconsistent, completely diametrically opposite. This difference and diametrically opposite component is not going to be accepted by you, then there will be a question for integrity of this country. Please note it. Madam Chairperson, I want to take back the House in the year 1949, soon after the independence, when the Constitution was made, the Constitution making process was on. Of course, you will be happy that your own favorite leader, the Iron Man of this country, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, favorite leader of the government, they are celebrating with false claims. However, I want to put forth my views from the mouth of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who was the chairman of the advisory committees for minorities in the Constitutional Assembly. He was the chairman. Who are all the members? President of India and President of the Assembly, Rajendra Prasad. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, later Prime Minister. Dr. Ambedkar and Dr. Munshi. Headed by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the committee took a decision and a report was placed before the Constitutional Assembly. The Constitutional Assembly report was placed on 25th May 1949. He himself says, I quote, a committee of 5 persons was appointed by the advisory committee in which our revered president was also one of the members. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, myself, Mr. Munshi and Dr. Ambedkar were the members of the committee. The committee met and made its report in February. Unquote. Finally, he placed the report and moved in the Constituent Assembly. What was his prayer when he was moving? I quote again. If they, that is Muslims, I quote, if they really have come honestly to the conclusion that in the changed conditions of this country, it is in the interest of the all to lay down real and genuine foundation of a secular state, then nothing is better for minorities than to trust the good sense and sense of the fairness of the majority and to place confidence in them. First part, unquote. Second part is very important. Again I quote. So also, it is for us to happen to be the majority to think about what the minorities feel and how they are treated. But in the long run, it would be in the interest of the all forget that there is anything like majority and minority, this country and that India, there is only one community. With these considerations, sir, I beg to move that report may be adopted, unquote. This is the voice of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in the Constitution Assembly. We are celebrating Constitution. See, now the problem is we want to harvest the legacy of the Sardar Patel. Those who wanted the legacy of the Sardar Patel in the constitutional terms are opposing the bill. Those who wanted to erect the statue of Vallabhbhai Patel and erase the concept of Vallabhbhai Patel wanted to support this bill. That is the problem. Sir, if I am permitted to go to the genesis of the work, which was originally enacted in the year 1954. After that, the act was amended frequently 59, 64, 69. Thereafter, comprehensive amendments were made in the year 1984. My sincere question to the Treasury benches and the Honorable Minister. Right from the 1984, whenever amendments were brought in this House, there was a basis. There were deliberations. There were consultations with stakeholders, which was appointed by either by the Parliament or by the President of India or the Prime Minister of India. 1984 amendment came into existence on the basis of the report submitted by the Waqf Enquiry Committee appointed by the Government of India in the 1970 by the Parliament. So a committee was formed in the year 1970. The report was placed. After 14 years, the amendments were made. I surprised when I went through the document in 1970. What a beautiful and sensible deliberation took place in 1970. In spite of that, the protests were made against 1970. Late, it came in 1984. Madam, if at all so many recommendations were made in 1970, in 1984, the Parliament was enabled to take 2 amendments. One is for limitation, which was extended to 30 years for the properties. The second one is the act applicable to the evacui properties. No other provisions were implemented. Not because of the protests of the Hindus, the protests by the Muslims themselves. It was fairly accepted by the Nehru and government. After that, 1995 Act came into existence. I am an antibiotic, so that I have to take. See, what I wanted to impress upon the minister and the house, whenever the amendment came into existence, on the reasonable basis, on the institutional outcome, the amendments were done. Take 1995. 1995, how the act came into existence? Sorry. In 1985, the reason, statement objection reason, para 2, I quote, comprehensive amendments of the Waqf Act were made in the year 1984, which were based largely on the recommendation of the Waqf Inquiry Committee set up in December 70 to inquire the administration of Waqf all levels and response to a demand made by the parliament members during the discussion of Waqf bill. Only 2 amendments. Thereafter, the demand was made by the Muslim community to have a relook, and accordingly, it was placed in the parliament, and 1995 Act came into existence. Now again I come to 2013. 2013, on what basis? Para 2 of the reasons and objectives. The Prime Minister's High-Level Committee for Preparation of Report on Social, Economic and Educational Status of Muslim Community, in its report submitted to the Prime Minister on 17 November 2006, which is known as Sachar Committee report. So what I wanted to say, whether it is 84, whether it is 95, whether it is 2013, there were bases, there were consultations, there were consensus arrived. Then the white paper was filed to the parliament. Then they brought the amendments. Now tell me, please tell me, on what basis this bill is being brought in house? On what basis? You can say so many stakeholders. How many stakeholders came to the JPC and substantiated our claim? Nothing. Sir, madam, all right. The way in which the bill is brought and piloted is still itself is something surreptitious measure. Surreptitious. Now, I am coming to the objects and reasons of the present bill. The present bill says they are admitting, para 2, based on the recommendations of the high-level committee, under the chairmanship of Justice Sachar, and the report of the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Waqf, the Central Waqf Council, and after having detailed consultation and other stakeholders, comprehensive amendments were made in the year 2013. Your admission, unquote. Then you start the same paragraph, I quote, despite the amendments, please hear, despite the amendments, it has been observed that the Act still requires further improvement to effectively address issues related to the powers of the Waqf Board, registration and survey of the properties, removal of encroachment, including the definition of the Waqf. 5 components. You said, in addition to the 2013, even on the basis of the Sachar Committee report, you wanted to address 5 more components according to you, which are missing in the S12 bill, S12 Act. Let us pursue. Now I come to your 5 pillars. I can easily demonstrate that the definition of the Waqf, it is nothing but artfully confused for the non-existence of Waqf. Removal of the encroachment, it is nothing but empowering the government to grab the Waqf property. Survey of the property, it is nothing but a mockery, because Government of India already filed an application, filed an affidavit before the Supreme Court. More than 90% survey is already over. Now you are coming for survey. Registration of Waqf, it is not at all humanly possible according to your text. I will come to that. Powers of the state boards, it becomes recreation club. I will demonstrate. Sir, as a student of law, I got anguish when see the amendments. And I challenge the minister with the due humility. Please show one improvement on these 5 heads beyond the 2013 Act. Then I will ready to salute you. You can't. You can't. On the contrary, Madam Chairperson, I have been in the Parliament more than 22 years. I know the legislative business. Being a lawyer, I am well versed. But have you come across a bill is being brought to the Parliament cunningly and cleverly to remove the amendments which were brought in the 1995 and 2013 after due deliberation and approved by the same Parliament? If you really honest, you must repeal the 2013. You must repeal the 1995 because most of the amendments brought in 1995 in 2013 were completely removed by way of this amendment. What does it mean? What does it mean? I want to quote the quote of V.R. Krishna, a known jurist. I quote, Parliament is a great inquest of the nation, the great auditor and ombudsman of the executive, the final arbiter, policy monitor, and destiny designer of the people, unquote. I dare to charge the government that this Parliament is being used as a mere ventilating chamber and it has been undermined. It is nothing but an unpardonable onslaught on the constitution religion. One day you will be repent. Now, I will turn to the provisions of the bill. 5 components, definition of the work. My learned friend, including Kalyan Banerjee, everybody, even Akhilesh, my brother Akhilesh, said about the practicing Islam. Then nobody should be indulged in contrivance. Where you got all this language? I am a Hindu. I may be a believer. I may not be a believer. But when you entrusting a property, you must measure my honesty. Whether I'm honest or not. If I am a fraud, following the Hinduism is useless and nonsense. You never bother about the honesty and transparency. You are always concerned about only religion. That is the problem. Sir, I have not come across such a provision in any other law in any other country. So what has been the contrivance? How can you measure the contrivance? So, Islamic practice and I am having, please madam, I can get the time from Congress also. They accepted it. I am coming only definition. Then,
we could not speak in the
so see, the definition of the waqf itself, the attempt that has been made by the government, according to you are saying that not intelligent contrivance, your entire attempt, I want to say it is nothing but a diabolical contrivance. Diabolical contrivance. Then you add new sentences.